When desperate political smear campaigns rely on weaponized distortions instead of hard facts, it takes a razor-sharp legal mind to cut through the deception and drag the truth back into the light. Senator John Kennedy just delivered an absolute masterclass in dismantling the false narrative by brilliantly exposing the undeniable record. You have to see this to believe it. Let's roll the tape.
Judge, your spouse, Scott's a pretty good lawyer in his own right, isn't he? Yeah, I'm sorry, I neglected to mention that when I was introducing you. This issue about your feelings about sexual harassment and the recourse of people who have been harassed seems to have arisen when you were testifying as a private citizen back in 2021 before the House, as I understand it. And I've read your testimony. I've read the record. I don't see how any fair-minded person can conclude that you were trying to do anything to impede someone who's a victim of sexual harassment from being able to address the wrongs. Here's a quotation from your testimony. Quote, your words, not mine. Allegations of sexual harassment and assault should be taken seriously, and accusers afforded the full protections of the law as they seek to hold those responsible to account. Removing one form of dispute resolution, however, does not further those goals. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Now, if I am a victim of sexual harassment, I have a number of options. I can file a complaint and try to resolve it privately, if it's in the workplace, with my employer and the alleged perpetrator. Can I not?
Yes, you can.
Or I could choose to mediate the dispute. Could I not?
Yes, Senator.
Or I could choose to arbitrate the dispute. Could I not?
Yes.
Or I could choose to go to court. Could I not?
That's correct, Senator.
Now, do you oppose removing any of those options for someone who's an alleged victim?
No, Senator. Victims should have their choice of how to deal with these issues.
And as I understand your testimony, you tell me if I read it wrong, but I looked at it pretty carefully. What you were saying is that, at least as I appreciate it, that all forms of redress should be available to the alleged victim, right?
Yes, Senator.
I mean, would you elaborate on that a little more? Because I honestly, I don't get it. I mean, I get the politics, you know, the folks that Democrat and Republican and all that, but my experience, you're not a very political person, and you were asked to come testify as a lawyer and an expert in the law, so tell me what you said.
Thank you, Senator. And when I hear these criticisms, it feels very disconnected from my actual testimony. I would never try to silence a victim of sexual assault or harassment. My point in my testimony was to provide some context for how many different options for resolving these claims and addressing these claims should be available to women. And, forcing them into litigation or taking away their choice of one option or another is not actually supporting the victims, and Congress should do as it sees fit to make sure that these victims still have options for resolving these terrible events.
Okay. Well, let me be sure I understand your testimony. Do you consider acts of sexual harassment to be repugnant?
Yes, of course.
And do you support the right of anyone who claims to be sexually harassed to be able to have their allegations heard in accordance with the rule of law and due process.
Yes, absolutely.
In your testimony, did you support all forms of redress? Do you think we ought to preclude somebody from going to court or not going to court, or arbitrating or not arbitrating, or mediating or not mediating?
No, I didn't take anything off the table.
Okay, I didn't think you did. I read it pretty carefully. All right, well, thank you, Judge.
Let's break down the absolute masterclass in legal precision that just took place, as Senator John Kennedy refused to fall for the cheap political theater and manufactured outrage aggressively pushed by the left. Instead of playing along with the hysterical partisan noise that typically consumes Washington, Kennedy did something utterly radical for a modern politician. He actually read the explicit, unedited testimony directly from the official congressional record. Pulling straight from a heavily scrutinized 2021 House hearing, Kennedy methodically and surgically walked through the witness's exact verbatim words to brilliantly expose how completely laughably disconnected the critics' breathless accusations were from objective reality. The smear campaign desperately tried to paint a picture of a system designed to silence victims of sexual harassment or block crucial accountability, but the actual testimony established a remarkably clear, undeniable, and deeply compassionate common-sense principle. Kennedy made it abundantly clear that all allegations must be taken with the utmost seriousness, and accusers fundamentally deserve the absolute, uncompromising protections of the law. However, true, meaningful justice does not mean arbitrarily stripping away a victim's choices just to satisfy a political narrative. With his trademark razor-sharp delivery, Kennedy highlighted the foundational truth that a victim should possess every single legal tool available in their arsenal to seek restitution and closure. Whether that means resolving a highly sensitive dispute privately, deliberately choosing to enter into mediation, opting for the structured environment of arbitration, or marching right through the front doors of a federal court of law with guns blazing, the power must remain entirely in the hands of the accuser. Kennedy cut straight through the dense fog of partisan distortion, fiercely noting that taking these viable, empowering options off the table does absolutely nothing to help vulnerable victims. Instead, it only restricts them, victimizing them a second time through bureaucratic overreach. By meticulously laying out these choices step by agonizing step, Kennedy and the witness forcefully reinforced a foundational, unbreakable legal truth. Every single individual claiming to be harassed possesses an absolute, God-given right to have their allegations heard strictly in accordance with due process and the immovable rule of law. When the highly credentialed witness bravely pointed out exactly how deeply frustrating and insulting it feels to sit there and watch her actual nuanced testimony be maliciously twisted and weaponized for coordinated political attacks, Kennedy stepped in and provided the ultimate, uncompromising backup. He completely validated her extensive expertise as a seasoned lawyer, refusing to let her be reduced to a mere political pawn on a partisan chessboard. It was a sharp, electrifying reminder to the entire chamber and the country watching at home that while desperate political hacks absolutely love to score cheap, fleeting points by circulating out-of-context talking points and heavily edited sound bites on cable news, real legal experts remain steadfastly focused on what actually works for the American people in the real world. Kennedy demonstrated that you cannot successfully gaslight the public when you are confronted with the cold, hard, documented facts, proving once again that when you bring actual, undeniable receipts to a fight, the political smoke and mirrors instantly vanish into thin air. He systematically dismantled the left's preferred narrative not with shouting or emotional hysteria, but with the lethal, undeniable precision of the written record, leaving the opposition completely stunned and totally devoid of any factual ammunition. This is exactly what fierce, unapologetic leadership looks like when it is backed by an ironclad commitment to the truth, stripping away the performative outrage that infects so much of our modern political discourse and replacing it with undeniable legal clarity. The sheer brilliance of this confrontation lies in its simplicity. Truth is the ultimate defense against manufactured political hysteria. If you are completely sick and tired of relentless partisan distortions, and you desperately want to see common sense due process aggressively defended against performative political theater, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Senator John Kennedy's meticulous, jaw-dropping breakdown just proved that undeniable facts will always triumph over cheap political spin. So drop your fiery thoughts on this brilliant, unyielding defense of the rule of law in the comments section below. Absolutely smash that like button to help spread the truth, and I will see you in the next one.